Welcome, Triggerfinger, the three of you. Good to have
Hi.
you. I'm old-fashioned, as you can see. You are fashioned. Fashion is very important in your life. Did this start with Triggerfinger, or did the three of you have each of you like fashion before you met? Or did it start with a band?
I think Ruben started it because Ruben was he's always in being into fashion anyway. I mean, and and he came up with the idea, if we go out and play, maybe we should try and wear some suits. And it became something that's almost like necessary, because we tried it at some points. We tried it without the suits, and it was they were the worst gigs we ever done.
Yeah.
And so it's like a ritual, you know what I mean? It's like you sit there in the dressing room like for an hour, and just you get dressed, getting into the vibe, getting prepared for the gig. And it's sort of like it came out like it's something I quite like that as well. So finally you go into it and you get more interested, and it's something that became part of your life.
Once we put on the suit, it's showtime. 1 hour before, okay, that's a sign we have to get ready to play. Actually,
One of the best dressed bands in the world.
Yeah, but it's not kind of a high end thing or something, because to a certain extent, a lot of people, they are into some sort of fashion, in not like a upfront kind of way, but you wear what you like, whether it's just a t-shirt and jeans and sneakers or whatever. It doesn't need to be something of pressure, something you need to do to belong in a certain group or something. It's everything's fine if you just wear something that you like and you feel good in,
Yeah, it looks good, at least that I can say. You look very good. Yeah, look at me, I'm an old-time rocker. Colossus, this is the name of your new CD, and there are a lot of meanings for Colossus. It's a
Yes.
computer. What is it that you referred to with the title? What are you referring to? Where did this title get from?
Well, that was actually the cool thing, that it refers to so many things. It's a really nice metaphor for a lot of things, like you said, and also in the meantime, if you're referring to a Colossus, to something of great magnitude, it's also referring to the opposite, to something that's very small. It depends on what your point of view is, on the situation or the position you look at, and in that way, that's how the song is meant, actually, because you can relate to a lot of different levels on the Colossus, and I never found it very interesting to really explain what songs are about, because it's more interesting that you leave people to do it, because everything is already explained these days. You can look up anything on Wikipedia, and everything's out there and you're in your face and explained. So maybe the important travels we do are the ones we make in our minds.
Yeah. So normally you write music. You don't think about what style of music I'm writing. You just are writing music. You're playing music, and very often you just have a title. But sometimes there's something behind this, your story. And I was interested in, because what do they mean by that? I was curious. What impressed me with the new album, I knew Triggerfinger before, and this time I was listening very carefully, and I'm surprised. Only 3 people are playing this music. You sound like much more, very often. Not only with the 3 tracks with the sax, but it sounds like more people are saying there. That's what I find kind of fascinating when I listen to your music.
There are more people on it as well. and especially the 3 of us, together with the producer Mitchell Froom, we kind of like, we played all kind of stuff. I mean, percussion or whatever, chimes, or there was no limiting on, or we weren't limited by the fact that has to be the 3 of us. And Ruben came up with the ideas, like, before all the other records were done as a more in a feel like a live band recording their album live, needed to be on tape. and we rehearsed it so many times that we went into the studio so we could play it. And this time, he had the idea like leave it open and just get inspired by anything that could happen and use anything we can use and what suits the music. You know what I mean? So it's no limiting. So it everything could happen, which made it all interesting. Yeah.
And
Great Scotch.
Mitchell's studio was also like a big playground with all those strange instruments and things, and we used it, a lot of them, because it was fun. And sometimes we kept it, and sometimes we didn't. But it was very free.
That was I was referring to. I prepared with reading other interviews, and very often, or all the time, we recorded it on tape and we recorded it on computer as well, and it's kind of tradition always. Has it been this way as well? Did I get it right? No tape this time, or tape?
No.
So the first, it's different somehow.
You know, we learn, because it's not bad to record on tape, because you put yourself to a certain way of recording to, like Mario said, you go for a certain atmosphere in a certain way. And because there was a strong connection in the live vibe between us and an interaction for the other albums, we wanted to really get everything out of that vibe. And we had done a couple of really cool albums that way, we thought. But now it was like, okay, let's open a couple more doors musically and sonically and see what we can get out of it without any fixed plan before. And we bought a small studio, well, the material, the gear of a small studio 3 years ago. And last April, we built a little room for ourselves. So we had a rehearsal room and studio. We put the gear, or part of the gear, in there. And we started making demos with that gear. And the cool thing was that it's really cool stuff, you know. It's a really nice mixing desk with really cool preamps. We got a couple of really cool mics. And the cool thing is, if by starting to make demos on that stuff, it immediately sounded amazing. Even if we were like messing around with sound and like fucking it up and whatever, it really immediately had a great vibe going. And that also kind of made us decide, you know what, let's just keep it open and see whatever happens is cool. You know, we talked to Mitchell about it, like we sent him the demos, and he said, this is kind of an exciting way to start. Let's not pinpoint like we're going to do it like this or that, or we have to play it live, or we have to do it this way or that way. There were certain elements on the demos that had a strong character and atmosphere. So we had it in our minds, like maybe even if there's stuff that we really like from the demo, we can put it on the album. We can use that and use that as a starting point. And we started to play every song. We started to play it live in Santa Monica when we were recording with David and Mitchell. And then we checked, like, okay, what do we have from the demo? Is there anything that's more exciting than what we're doing here? And sometimes it wasn't. Sometimes the new interpretation, the live start, was really something really cool, and we built up from there. But on other occasions, there were a couple of songs that were almost the center of the whole song. Yeah. We started from the demo, and then we added a little stuff back there. So it was a really organic, kind of really playful way to make music or record music.
And it worked out, to be honest, and because five days ago I received the CD, and if I get new music, I listen to it in my car. That's the best place for me, and I didn't change it. And I'm discovering it. Yeah, it does not make me dance, but it makes me listen. I really enjoy your music, so
thank you.
It's very good. If I listen to you, recording a CD, producing CD is something special, otherwise you wouldn't do it. If you look back, is there something special for you, for each one of you personally, where you think, if I look at the studio, it had been, wow, such a wonderful moment, or that had been something. Is there something for you, if you look back to the procedure of recording the CD, a memory, where you say, oh, or something you're proud of?
You know what? I guess what this album has done for me personally, we were coming out of a time where we toured a lot. We were almost drowning in the. It was cool and it was fantastic, but then it was time to kind of because this is a really cool thing. Let's step away from it for a while and get some input. And we were playing those songs for a long time, and the way we recorded it and the kind of songs we wrote made for me that I had an enormous amount of fun again. Not that it didn't happen before, it was also cool, but now it was like I had so much fun writing these songs and recording them that I have the feeling that even like every week there's hundreds new albums coming out. But still, I'm really positive about looking forward to making still new music, because what we allowed ourselves to try and to open up and to experiment, I'm like, dude, man, this is the coolest thing ever, music. Reflecting, discovering something you already know, but it's a great feeling to be able to, of course, to make an album with all those people, the group of people we were, that you have a lot of trust in enjoyment in making music.
Yeah.
And the way of recording too, it was like very open. We were there at that moment and we played. And it was nice to discover that a guy like Mitchell Froom is a human being too, because in the beginning, in the beginning it's really like, whoa, Mitchell Froom, you see all what he did, and that's quite impressive. So suddenly you see that guy, and he changed into a young guy of 18 years old who was fooling around with things, and he's very, enthusiastic, and that was big fun. That was big fun. The starstruckness was gone after a week or so,
No.
after faster actually. Yeah.
And for you?
Well, for me, it was because I mean, the way we used to work before, as I said before, is it was all structured out and it was all very clear. And this time it was open, and I wasn't totally comfortable by the fact by doing this, because when I want to do something, I want to do it right and I want to do it good. But now it was all like, oh Jesus, I was so uncomfortable in a way. Then going into the studio with Mitchell, the good thing about it is that he pushed me, personally from my point of view, he pushed me in a way that I wouldn't go at the time. You know what I mean? So that was, for me, the first time I was like, I wasn't getting it. But I discovered it later when I got home.
Now I have to ask, because you have the picture in mind, or you have the sound in your ear, but where were you going? Where did you push it to?
Well, it could be like for me as a drummer, I had a certain idea about, for instance, like a sound for how my drums I would like to sound it, but he would be going the opposite way, and I wasn't comfortable with it. So I would go to those two guys and say, well, do you think it's good? Is it good? Is it good? I don't know. Even with playing, so I feel like normally I would play it and I would be like, okay, it needs to be better, it needs to be better, it needs to be better. And I played it once and he would be like, oh, this is good. And I'll be like, no, it can't be good, man. This is it felt really uncomfortable. And by the time later when the album is getting mixed, I was like, all the little details that we hear, they're all gone, because it was meant to be like that. And that's the way he subtle, very subtle. He pushed for me. He pushed me in that direction. Probably not by doing it, because he had this vision. Like, oh no, that's good. For him, it's like, no, leave it. It's good.
And the cool thing was to see that he let, in a lot of ways, he made you come up with solutions.
Yeah.
He opened up the horizon and said, like, okay, you try something and do something. And Mario was like, I don't know, man. Because he wants to come prepared to he wants to rehearse it all and come prepared, and he knows his lesson. But so that was kind of cool because you got to understand we've been living with those songs for half a year. You write a song, you rehearse it a little bit, and then it's not finished yet, but there's certain elements that okay, this works and that works, and the rest is vibe. And you like the vibe or the idea that it might become a really cool recording, but it's not that yet. And then, so you have some sort of an emotional connection bond with that song. So it's very cool that you have a guy like Mitchell who doesn't have that connection and watches
everything
it from a distance and say, yeah, that's cool, but what if you just do that? And sometimes we were like, whoa, that doesn't fit the idea that we had from that song. But if you open up to it, you can. Sometimes you have a really cool thing. Not every time, because it didn't mean that he was right every time, but it allowed us to try stuff and to arrive at an interesting point.
That was the fun part too. The fact that he had ideas, but when it didn't work out, he, as fast as he had the idea, he threw it away.
Yeah.
Oh, this is really.
He was the
rubbish.
first one to admit that it was bad.
He's not the guy that plays God. He just tries to help you out, and that's it.
But on the other hand, if I listen to you, it seemed he had a lot of ideas. It's not easy to get along with it. If it works out, it's good. If not, next way, it's not easy for you. You have to get used to this. You learned a lot doing this. It's a true, if I can say this.
Yeah, but everyone had great ideas.
Yeah.
That was the cool thing. He allowed everyone to, because that's what he said to you also, like say, tell me if I'm wrong or prove me wrong if you got a better idea. Creatively.
Creative and
Probably.
musical.
It's not weird. It's wonderful.
Yeah, it's absolutely wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, because you're not young guys and you're developing, but suddenly it's a major change, I would say, perhaps not in music, but in you.
Yeah, but he has a lot of experience, and you can feel that. Not only the technical side of music, but also like on human plan actually, and that helped us a lot. I think he's a wonderful person and a sense of humor. Incredible, I think, and smart. He's really smart, I think.
That's also very important because, like what you said, on a human level,
Yeah.
because when you're recording an album, it's an emotional thing, and you gotta perform, and you're gonna make mistakes, and it's nice if you feel in an environment where it's okay to make mistakes, where somebody else, and you have the feeling, because that was really cool. David Boucher, the engineer, together with Mitchell and the three of us, we had the feeling that all of us were trying to make the coolest album possible, and that everyone was kind of, it wasn't an ego kind of thing. I'm the guy who wants to make the decision and I want to be right. No, it was all in the sense of what can make this album even cooler.
Yeah. Speaking on a more using a bit of philosophy, you were able to give up, to let loose, to give it away. It's not easy.
No, and it wasn't easy at all, because this actually was the first time we had like a producer. All the albums before with Greg Gordon were really fantastic as well, but Greg would be like the co-producer together with engineering, and they were great albums because we loved them, and he's a great guy and everything. But now the change is that Mitchell isn't an engineer; he's a musician,
Yeah.
and he would jump into the songs and come up with different ideas. And for us, it was the first time we had someone doing this. And we discussed it before, and that's what we wanted. But that's a big change in our mindset.
I really enjoy this now, because normally promotion, you have got the same question, everything. But now I'm allowed to listen to you, and you're so proud. You love what you've done, that new experience, and that's for me. It's fantastic to listen to you.
It's a new thing to us too, because we have a lot of experience in studios. Even before Triggerfinger, we did our share of session works and things like that. But this is a whole new way of working for us too. It's amazing.
It went in a totally different way than I prepared, but it's no problem with it. And the last thing I want to say to this, for me it popped up when all the things you said, it's like cooking. You're cooking the same things over and over in a different way, and suddenly you told it totally different, still cooking the same, but somehow totally different, and you have fun cooking again and eating. It sounds like this.
The crazy thing was with the album, I think a lot of the vibe and in the songs was already there in the demos. And that's also something Mitchell liked a lot. He said, I like the variety in the music and kind of the edge the openness you guys are willing to take on this. And the adventure of it all. So that's, being a musician and making albums, you make a journey. And all of those albums we did were very important because it's just a reflection of who you are at that point in time. And those previous albums, they were great because at that point, when we make that album, playing the things live we were doing, I don't think, or you never know, of course, but probably we wouldn't have been able to make this album if we haven't had made the other ones the way we did. Now was the time to kind of, we did that, and we're very happy with what we did with the previous live sounding stuff, but now it's something new. And the cool thing is if you add these new songs in the set list together with the older songs, they get a new kind of vibe too, It seems like they have a new jacket and they're like, hey man, I'm also a little bit of a new song right now. So that's kind of cool.
One last question concerning this. Before, whatever I was referring to it before, playing with 3 people on stage, and you added a lot in this city. Will you still play it with the three of you, or will you get other musicians? Did you think about that? Or will you use samples or whatever it is?
No, we have one new guy joining us for the live shows, and he's a friend of ours. When we started out and if we did side projects, he was always one of the guys that we would call, and he's. We have actually 2 guys.
Yeah, there's a couple of guys.
Yes, and they're like friends of ours who are great musicians we look up to, and they're just like so easy to go. And they if someone else is, if David Poltrick is one of them, if he's not able to play, there's Jeffrey Burton who can join, and they're like compatible and in the same minds as we are thinking, actually.
I think in German we say "es ist rund," it's round.
Yeah.
No, the talk we had, what we are talking about, I could ask you new questions, but it would take a while, and it's like playing a solo or improvising, and suddenly you're done, and that's it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. It was a fantastic
Thank you.
Thank you. It was wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.